Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Thank you so much for joining me today. Back in 2017, I saw these Chameleon color tones demonstrated at Creativation, and I was fascinated by them, so I went home and I ordered this set. When they first arrived, I was quite frustrated. I couldn't figure them out, and I set them aside in my stash and left them alone until today. And today, I started to play with them, and I learned a few things. So what they are is basically you have on this end, pretty much it's like a colorless ink. It takes color out. It's a color eraser, also known in the Copic marker world as the blender. That's what this is down here. And then it comes with two nubs, and in this chamber is your alcohol ink that has the color in it. So you have a bullet point nub as well as a brush stroke nub. What you are to do is you're to take the colorless blender end, is what we'll call it, or the color eraser. We're going to call it the eraser for this. Then you take your end, you put your eraser on top of the colored end, and you make sure that both of the nubs are touching. You let it connect for between 5 and 35 seconds, and then you're going to take and do long strokes or short strokes out until you start to get the intensity of that color back. And as you can see, it does do a beautiful blend. If you like unpredictable art, this is definitely the way to go because the predictability on this is not always there. So let's go ahead and do sky blue this time. And I'm just going to hold it for another 5 seconds. And depending on how long you have the eraser hold with the nib that has the color will depend on how opaque or translucent the end is and how quickly that color comes back. So as you can tell, for this one, I held it there for quite some time, and it almost has a beautiful watercolor effect to it. Now, if you want more color quicker, then you would hold it less time. So the next one I want to do is the blue violet, and then we will go ahead and shade in some images just so you can kind of see how it works. If you don't want to use it in the blending fashion, you can go ahead and just use it like you would a straight up marker. So this one, see how pretty that is? So they really are quite lovely. They're fun to work with, but it is unpredictable. And if you want more color on your image, it's really hard to go back through and redo that. So let's go ahead and take and color some of this together. I think for this one, I would like to start off with some purple on this pretty flower up here. And I discovered that the best way to utilize these markers is not to go around in small circles because that can create some uneven blending, but to actually indeed go back and forth in long strokes. All right, so for this one, and I do want to put a piece of scratch paper under this so my alcohol ink has somewhere to go. And I do kind of like to start it off if I'm not sure what the intensity is. And then I'm just going to go on through here and pull this on out like so. And now I'm pretty much at the bottom of my color. The eraser ink is pretty much out, so I can go ahead and just color in like that. I'm going to switch colors for the bottom petal. Oh, and the stamped image that I'm using today is by Paper Artsy. This is it. This is one of my very favorite stamp sets. I absolutely love it. I haven't demoed it because I love them for this, but it also makes it super challenging to find. Paper Artsy works with small crafting stores that are mom and pops, like small businesses. They're out of the UK, and they don't like to compete, have like large box stores with their images in it, because it competes with those smaller stores. So what they've done is they only make their stamps available to those smaller stores, and then after 6 months of being released, they go ahead and put them up on their website. So if your local craft store does not carry Paper Artsy, they're really hard to find, but they make beautiful images. So where I am, my local craft store doesn't carry it. So I actually got this at Creativation because I took a class. Otherwise, I would have so many of their stamps. I think that they're beautiful, but they don't cater to big stores, which is awesome. I think that's great. And they also, out of respect for the small businesses, the stores they do cater towards, they don't carry it on their website until, you know, it's been out for 6 months. So that's pretty cool. This one has not been out for 6 months because it was released in January of 2020, I believe. So you probably won't be able to find this until, I'm going to say probably the fall on their website. All right, so for this particular blend, the leaves are hard for me to do because that color comes through really quick. Do you see how that just came through? So that's what I mean by you have to go kind of back and forth and in long strokes rather than any kind of circles or anything like that, because it just doesn't work so hot. All right, so for this one, I'm going to start to color this one out in Blue Sky. Now, my opinion on these markers, you guys, is they're not my favorite. I will probably only have this set, and I'm not quite sure that I'll ever pull out these markers again. I appreciate that they can do these beautiful blends, but I have discovered that my Copic markers I like a little bit better, and like this one is not, there we go, now we're getting some of it out. But I just like my Copics better. I like the alcohol inks better to blend with. These are a little bit too unpredictable, and I don't like to color back and forth like this. It's a little bit challenging. The results are pretty though. I'll give you that. But the barrels are kind of big on it, and also to have to flip it over and wait for, 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds is a bit redundant. It's kind of a nuisance, and I keep losing pieces on my desk. So, there's pros and cons. I know some people went out and just fell in love with this whole set and wanted to buy it all, and they did, and that's great, if that's something that they enjoy. But for me, I don't think it's really my thing. And I wanted to play with them though, because there is some interest in them, and a lot of people, the company sent the markers to, and so they feel an obligation to obviously say nice things because they were kind enough to send it. But in my situation, I bought these markers, so this is my opinion on it. You know what I mean? And I wanted just to give you guys an opportunity to really see them at work. So I'm going to finish up this, and then we will try this technique with a Colorless Blender, which is an eraser. And I'm not going to use a Copic because I don't have it right in front of me. I'll use a different brand, but it will still work just fine. So let's see here. Oh, I did the wrong end on that. I don't want that end. You know what? That's okay. We'll pull it through. We'll go ahead and just, we'll just do that end. So this is why I automatically want to go around like that, and that kind of defeats the purpose with these markers. So anyway, oh well. I am going to put this in my journal. I think that these flowers are so funky and so fun that I can definitely make this work in my journal. All right, so I'm going to stop with this, and I'll show you some other samples that I did. This is the first one that I did with these markers. And like right here, I was trying to do the small circles, how most of us learned how to color in grade school. And it just didn't allow for a very nice blend. And then this one, I started to get the hang of it, and I really like how this page turned out. So let's go ahead and just try to take a colorless blender. I'm going to use these style file markers. They're alcohol ink. They're the same. I mean, alcohol ink is alcohol ink, you know. So I'm going to take this, and then I am going to take this dark green, and we'll do that leaf right there. So I'm going to take, and wondering if I should use the bowl tip on it. Nope, you know what, we'll try to do it just the way that they did it. All right, so I'm going to take my colorless blender, and I'm just going to touch the nibs, and I'm not real worried about my blender getting ruined. First of all, I don't use colorless blenders hardly ever. Secondly, I have a lot of colorless blenders that I don't use. So, plus I think we'll be able to just rub this off really nicely. So I'm going to just give it a couple seconds here. And I'm actually going to do this on a scratch piece of paper. I don't think I want to ruin my art because I don't know what's going to happen here. But I'm thinking that it's fairly similar. So let's first try to pull that color out. And no, it really didn't do much. So let's see what happens if as you can tell, there's some color on your colorless blender. So perhaps this will have the opposite effect in the sense that it will go lighter and lose its color, which is what it's doing. That's cool. All right, so let me do this one. So basically, if you want to do a similar technique with your Copic, you can go ahead and take your colorless blender and pair up the nubs and let it sit for a few seconds, I should say. And then color your colorless blender off. And you will get, instead of a light to dark blend, you will get a dark to light blend. And as I rotate my blender around, it goes back dark again because of where I had the marker. So it doesn't work as well as the Chameleon, okay? I'll give it that. It doesn't work. It's the same concept, but the Chameleon definitely probably perfected it a little bit better, got it done a little bit better, and I think I know why. Look at the nub. The nub is not a brush tip nub. It looks like it's a brush tip, but it's not. So I want to try this technique against my bold tip nub, which I never use. So let's just see here how this works. So I'm just going to, and it might end up where, it just doesn't work. I don't know. But it's kind of fun to see. That way you don't have to ruin your colorless blender. I'll ruin mine. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, no, it doesn't want to work on that. So let's see how this one works. Okay, so it definitely works better on your bold tip end of your nub. You do get a pretty good blend on that from darkest to lightest. And then of course you would want to rub it out so that, and it comes pretty clean. I mean, you would still be able to use that with other colors. Huh, who knew? All right, it's kind of fun to experiment like that. I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video and my ramblings and just trying out these markers. I will have a link for you down below on where you can find them if you're interested in them. As for me, this was fun. I'm going to leave it at this and probably never use them again. See if my kids want them, or maybe I'll do a giveaway. What do you guys think? Do you think that I should do a YouTube giveaway with them? Let me know down below. Who would like to win my used markers? Gently used markers, only used twice markers. Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I think I'll give them away. Until next time, happy crafting!